Hey guys, Dave Duford here, and before we get started listening to this interview with Anthony Boba, who did $330,000 in final expense business over the phone exclusively in 2021, I want to just give you a heads up that where this particular interview took place is at our monthly Elite Agent Summit events. These Elite Agent Summit events cornerstone top producers across the nation in different industries in the insurance business that come in and agents tell us how they are successful in their particular niches. We do these events in a variety of different cities, and instead of this being kind of your typical Kool-Aid drinking hoopla event, the whole point of it is to actually listen to top producers share with you how and what they've done to become successful. So if you're a newer agent or a struggling agent or even an experienced agent, and you want to go to an actual event where you can pick up those golden nuggets that are going to help you become a better producer in whatever it is that you're selling, then you definitely want to learn more about this event. Here's what you can do to learn more. Go to eliteagentsummit.com. You should see a link above or definitely below in the description box. And then you'll see where the upcoming events are going to be, as well as the pricing of the tickets. And guys, we do a very good job at keeping these tickets very affordable. We want them to be within reach for you and not be so out of whack as far as price goes that they're unaffordable. So make sure you check those out. Go to eliteagentsummit.com to learn more. And without further ado, let's get started with the interview.
So I got started in the insurance industry. A buddy of mine was a personal trainer. COVID, his business was in the toilet. That was that. He looked to get into something else. He got into Facetoface, final expense. And he's talking to me about these commissions that other people are making and this and that. And I was intrigued. And over the years, I've met a lot of people. Anybody that I've ever met in the insurance industry, either they made it big and they were doing very well, or they were kind of just starting out. So I was always intrigued by that. My experience over the years, I guess it's been about 20 or so years, I've been over the phone selling one thing or another. But 2003, I moved down here to Florida, about 2 hours south, and I started working for a brokerage, and I was a commodity broker. And I think it was about a year and a half, maybe 2 years working under somebody. I kind of figured things out, and I decided, let me branch away and do this on my own, which I did. And then I ultimately built, I think it was about 45 guys, all said and done, that I would train, recruit. We had a full-time teacher. They would pass their Series 3. And they were more or less money raisers, is what it was. They'd be on the phone all day, every day, making calls, lots of them, and opening accounts for $5,000, $10,000, $25,000, $100,000, $500,000. And then we hired traders that would, know how to manage the money and trade the money. And that was that. And that went on for many years, and that worked out great. And by the way, Matt, I've known him for, I guess, about 20 or so years, but he worked for me way back when. Sold that business, and then my wife had this crazy idea to get into something and create a product that never existed in the marketplace. So I've always kind of had the opinion, if there's a way humanly possible to do something, it could be done. And I had a few bucks, luckily, from selling that business. So I decided to give it a go. The wife said, let's try it. I said, yes. So we created a product that didn't exist, and lo and behold, I got that product, me, on the shelves of Walmart and Target and Whole Foods and Walgreens and lots of other big players. But that doesn't really require a whole lot of my time. Sometimes it's 2 hours a week, sometimes it's 20 hours a week, and that's few and far between. Now, fast forward to my buddy that I met, the personal trainer. He talks about this final expense and insurance and 100% commission. I'm thinking, there's no way this is legit. I mean, it's got to be bogus. So I reached out to some of my buddies that were in the insurance industry long before me, Matt being one of them. And, just kind of picking his brain, and is this true, and how does this work? And he said, nah, it's, if you could find that kind of commission, it is. I had two other buddies that, kind of confirmed that as well. And I kind of hit it, and I said, all right, let's do it. I got licensed in July of 20, got on the phones, I guess, to call some leads around August, and I was face-to-face for about, I'd say 4 to 5 weeks, and lo and behold, I was not getting paid the commission that I was told, and I picked that apart, and they just kind of passed the buck. Oh, I'll get back to you. I don't know why that is. There's admin fees. Yeah, right. So that was it for me. I was out of there, and then I was jaded. I was burnt, but I saw the potential in the industry. But I needed to find somebody that was just honest and truthful. You're going to bring me in. You're going to hire me. You're above me. You're entitled to make money on me. I get it. That's cool. But don't lie to me. And that's what happened there. Found Dave. This is Honest Abe over here. I'm sure all you guys know that. So that's what I needed. And I was looking to go telesales right out the gate. I was face-to-face. Did well, but phone sales was kind of my background, my experience. So I figured there's got to be a way to do this. I mean, there's got to be a way to do it over the phone. Do the carriers accept it? Is that an option? And all that. So, Dave was like, it's not really my personal experience. I'm more face-to-face, but people are doing it. And I'm a self-starter, and I figured I could figure this out one way or another. I'll kind of develop this structure, this system, which I did. And a lot of trial and error, a lot of money. But you throw enough, what against the wall, things stick, of course. And right from the beginning, Matt was with me, and we tried different CRMs, and we tried different lead vendors and lead programs. And I quickly learned how to generate my own leads, which does play a very, very big part of that. But there's a lot that goes into it. And I know everybody always asks me, and everybody's always intrigued by the whole lead generation thing. And while leads do play a very big part, because you need to have enough of them, of course, there's more than just the leads. There's more than just having so many people to talk to. I mean, I know a lot of people that generate leads, but they call the leads from their cell phone, or maybe from, an actual physical phone. Those, I don't even know that those exist anymore. But that's part of it. You need to have a CRM, which I know Ruben touched on earlier. I think that is a huge, that's probably, I don't know, I would say has 50% of to do with the business that I write because of that. The text messages that are being sent out, the emails that are being sent out, everything that goes along with it, they're written in a certain way where it's there to capture or to hit somebody's emotion, to trigger something, to get them engaged, to get them involved. But every single message, there's logic, there's thought behind each and every one of it. And I think that has a big part to do with why I do the business that I do. And I also think technology plays a huge part. Like everybody right now that's in this room, if your phone rings right now, I don't think anybody here would probably answer it, right? Let's say you're not here, you're home, you're in your car, you're wherever. Your phone rings, you don't recognize the number. Do you answer it? I don't usually answer it. They call a second time, do you answer it? I might think about it, I still wouldn't answer it. Third time, me personally, if it's important to leave a message, that's what I kind of say to myself. But you know what? Every single one of you right now, if you get a text, you'll probably look at that, won't you? And if you're maybe not driving the car, but at some point you're busy, you get a text, you're gonna look, you can't ignore that. You're not just gonna delete that and send that to, well, I know you can't send it to voicemail, but you're gonna look at a text. So I use that to my advantage with technology and with the CRM. And again, the thought and everything that goes into the message, you wanna get them thinking at all times. You wanna get them engaged, you wanna get them to respond. So there's so many things that goes into it here, but I know Dave's got some additional questions, but go ahead.
Yeah, kind of if you can take us through, so you said you self-generate your own leads, kind of take us through kind of a high-level approach of how that's done, and then kind of tie in where the emails and the text messages come into that sequence.
Okay, so there's lots of courses out there you can buy to figure out how to generate leads on Facebook, and lots of them will kind of give you the structure and the foundation. I often tell people that work with me on the agency, a course is gonna build a house, and the house will keep you warm, it'll keep you cool, it'll keep a roof over your head, but it's just a house. You need to fine tune that house. So where we kind of come in is we do the finish work, we do the decorating, we do the fine tuning, and we make this average ordinary home into a multi-million-dollar house. So the language that you use in your ads plays a huge part. Where you generate your leads plays a huge part. I live in Florida. I don't do any business in Florida.
Images.
The image you use in your ad plays a big part. Everything that you do has to be calculated and has to be thoroughly thought through as to the audience you want, the conversation you want to have, what emotion you want to trigger. I don't want to talk to somebody that thinks there's some kind of free insurance. And for those of you that are in final expense, I don't know, but I bet, I don't know how many leads you're buying. I generate about 100 to 120 leads a week. I'm going to say out of every conversation I have, I'm going to say maybe 1% of the people, kind of, oh, wait a minute, I thought this was free. I don't get that, because I'm very clear in the language I use in my ad that talks about a price that's involved. Could I generate more leads at probably $2 and $3 a piece? If I use some kind of misleading information, I'm sure I could, but I don't want to talk to that person.
Where do you put your ads?
Facebook. Where is everybody? Facebook, yeah. I know there's mailers, and I know there's this, and I know there's that, but real quick numbers, I say I generate between 100 to 120 leads a week. My average price gotten better over the last couple of months, thank goodness, but I'm probably $6-7 on each. Out of those 100 to 120 leads, between 20 to 30% of those actually schedule an appointment. So they go ahead and, well, to answer your question, Dave, so Mary Smith, she fills out her information on Facebook. She then automatically, she knows my name, by the way, before she even hits submit, she knows who I am. So right away, there, Anthony Boba, she's got me. A minute after she becomes a lead and she clicks submit, she's into my CRM, she immediately gets a text message. In that text message, hey, this is Anthony Boba, I've received your request, yada, yada, yada. I even include a video with me, with a voice not like this. And I sit there, and I made like a little YouTube video. And I said, hey, this is Anthony Boba. I thought it'd be a good idea if you can put a face behind the name of the text message you received, an email. By the way, if you haven't gotten that email yet, check it, you'll find an email right now. And then I kind of go into a whole little pitch. And I'm doing that so they can kind of, put a face to the name. And some people watch the video, some people don't. An hour later, also at the end of that video, I say, if you go back to the text message you've received to get a link to this video, you're also gonna find another link to my calendar where you can schedule a one-on-one appointment with me on a day and time that works for your schedule and mine. So some people will wait for the text message and then they click on that and then they'll have the opportunity to schedule an appointment. Some people do it right from the actual Facebook page. Those definitely do have the most serious intent, without a doubt. But again, these are text messages, and I don't know the exact percentage of time that I'm dealing with cell phones, but probably the vast majority. But if it obviously is a landline, they're not going to get that text message. So I'm going to get back to that more in just a moment. After they schedule an appointment, I have them redirected to what I would consider, and I call a risk qualification, risk assessment form, which is just about every single question that would be on an application. And I would say out of the 25 or so appointments I get a week, I'd say probably 80% of those complete that. So I know Mary Smith, I know her height, I know her weight, I know her list of her medications, I know any diagnosis she has, I know everything there is to know about Mary Smith before I talk to her, which is great, but that's not actually why I'm doing it. That's not why I'm even using that form. I'm using that form because Mary Smith is reading these questions and she's asking herself, man, I never really thought about this. Like, is that gonna be held against me? So I'm getting her engaged. I often tell people it's kind of like, if you're shopping for a new Chevy truck, you're probably gonna go to Chevy.com, you're gonna build the truck, you're gonna look at it, you're gonna see it, and you might say to yourself, man, I wanna put a lift wheels and tires in this truck. And then you're gonna go to some other website, Google Images, YouTube, and you're gonna look at the truck with lift wheels and tires. You wanna know what it looks like. You're engaged. And then it's just a matter of time before you're gonna say, I never even drove this freaking Chevy truck. Let me go down to the dealership and check it out. And guess what's happening? You're buying that Chevy truck because you've gotten so involved, you've gotten so engaged. So yes, it's great to have them complete that information, but I personally think it's more important to get them thinking about what it is and these issues that could arise. And man, COPD or, have ever been hospitalized for this or that, or, that gets them engaged, it gets them thinking. So that plays a big, big part. Hopefully that answered your question there.
Yeah, awesome. I want a follow-up question because I hear this a lot from agents I correspond with. Because the whole appointments, I don't know how many of you use this or have heard of this, but one of the gripes I hear, and I'm curious to see how you manage this process, is that people will go to set appointments, but they won't show. And they won't show to the extent that it doesn't even make it a viable opportunity. So can you kind of explain what pro tips you would give to somebody who would want to set preset appointments so that they actually stick? So when you sell them over the phone, they're picking the phone up?
Well, that's the one thing I cannot control is getting somebody to answer the phone. I mean, I've taught every agent with me how to generate leads, how to do so at a $5, $6, $7, $8 cost, and there's several of you in the room right now that can attest to that. The 20 to 30% conversion, again, several of the agents can contest to that. But the one thing I cannot do is get somebody to answer the phone. That's out of my control. So I send multiple text messages. I do triple dials. I do this. I do that. But that is the one thing. And what I do really is I just generate more leads to get more appointments.
I would say you reduce your availability, meaning when they want to go to book an appointment, only allow up to like 48 hours out, right? So it's on
sure.
line,
That's good.
right? You forget what you had for dinner the other day. Some people open their calendars up, I think, for the whole week, worried that these people don't work, they don't do anything. They're available. So I think a lot of people get worried. They open their whole entire week up. So someone on Monday becomes a lead, they book a Friday. they totally forget. Right?
It's
Don't
just-
want to remind them as well.
It's just like face-to-face, right? We don't book for next week. Oh, no. We're booking for the next day only. It might be 2 days out, but it's a problem. The no-show rates go up precipitously, so you got to booking it the next day.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, 2 business days is what I do. 2 business days, and like personally, I turn all of my ads off by early Thursday morning. Otherwise, if I'm running an ad on Thursday afternoon and it's 2 business days out, technically they could book an appointment for Monday. That's too far away. You know, like Matt said, they don't remember what they had for dinner last night. They're never going to forget, you know, or remember the appointment they have in 2 days, 4 days rather. I think Chad had a question.
Yeah, jump in here, guys. So a few questions about lead generation. If you want guys to ask, go ahead, Chad first.
Anthony, the structure is fantastic. I love everything you're saying. When I was selling FE, like in the last couple of years, there was a lot of FE that I sold. You know, there was about 500,000, and I was selling part-time. They're direct mail leads, which are fantastic. They work, they're great. But I can also tell you that at the beginning of each day, for me personally, I felt uncomfortable with the lead that I was working. I think as agents, it's important to have leads that you feel comfortable working. And
Great
that
point.
being said, the kind of lead that you're working is different than some of the other leads that are out there. So as agents, I think it's important, you know, when you get up each day, you feel very comfortable when you're going to the whatever lead you're working. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, and for that reason, I don't think I extended on what I wanted to. So they know my name before they click submit. They get a text message, they see my name again. They get a video, they see my face. They get another text message an hour later. They immediately get an email. My name is everywhere. When I call them on the phone, there is never, who are you? What is this about? They know exactly who I am. I'm not going to say they're sitting there waiting for the phone call, of course. That's never the case, no matter what. But they definitely know who I am when they enter that call. My name, hey, this is Anthony Boba. They know right away. And I think a huge amount goes into that. So marketing 101 is they need to hear something, see something, feel something, touch something, resonate something 3 times before it kind of becomes recognizable. And that's what I try to hit on.
Question.
So 2-part question. Can you recommend a specific program for training to create your own leads? And the other question is, do you have your own Facebook page or just ads?
I'm on the endangered species list. I'm one of the very few people that do not have a personal Facebook page. I will say that. I take that back. I do have it. I don't have any friends. The only reason I have it is purposely to generate leads because you have to have it, and that is it. The first part of your question, there's lots of courses out there, and I mean lots of courses. I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't do the course. I hired somebody in the beginning who sells a course, Bobby V. Everybody know Bobby V, seen his name? Bobby V does a course. I didn't go through the course. At the time, I reached out to him and I paid him. Yeah, neither did he. I paid him and he built it for me. However, I regret that. Had he had a course available, I definitely would have gone that route because after he built it for me, he built me 2 ads, Jacksonville and Miami. I don't want to do anything in Florida, especially Jacksonville and Miami. Well, maybe not Jacksonville, but definitely not Miami. So what do? Where do I go? I want to build a new ad. I have no clue how to do that. So that was a major hurdle for me. But yeah, Bobby V, I'd recommend him for sure.
If you guys want to watch a video I did with Bobby, put into YouTube, do Ford, $2.50. The first one will come up. It's about 45 minutes long. And if you like what you see, you can say it's an appointment.
What carriers are you using?
Oh man, everybody. It really depends. Everybody has their own thing. I'll say anybody. Oh, another thing. So I know a lot of people figure final expense. No, the cheapest. The cheapest that's telesales friendly. I'm not greedy. I'm not selfish.
So who would be that in your area?
There's too much more that goes into that. I mean, how old are they?
Yeah, I know.
You know, if they're between 40 and 50, I don't have a whole lot of options. I go Aetna. If they got COPD, I go Aetna. If they have diabetes with a number of issues, I go Royal Neighbors. If I got to go modified or graded plan, I definitely go GTL. If I got to go with guaranteed issue, AIG is usually my go-to. Great Western is a backup. They're a little bit more money. Prosperity, kind of on par, in my opinion, with the Royal Neighbors. They do accept Direct Express cards, which I try to avoid at all costs. By the way, if anybody gets that Direct Express card or Cash App or things like that, a lot of people don't know it. If you ask them if they have a checking or savings account, a lot of them say no, but with certain kind of cards like Cash App, Chime, they actually have a routing and account number associated to them. So when you ask that question, you know, you want to kind of open that up a little bit and get them talking. So again, really depends on the individual and what their issues are or are not, and the age.
So when you first started going hard, like say
carrier that you wanted to go to, or did you feel like I'm just going with whoever I can do the best plan for a person, friendly, cheap, or did you say, hey, I'm going to try this carrier to kind of like value this one carrier, and are you trying to value one carrier?
No, whoever. I mean, I will say that I did write a lot of Aetna in the beginning, more so than any other. Pretty easy application. Underwriting so-so, but ever since they got involved with Landmark, whatever that's been, 8 or so months, it's been a disaster, I think. I mean, if I don't get instantly approved, sometimes I wait 10 days before I can even get an approval. And billing, and they never send the application out on time. I shouldn't be bashing any carriers here, but they were my go-to. Now they're in the last on my list.
Karsten, you got a question, man?
Yeah. So when you first started with your Facebook ads, like what was your original cost per click, and then how long did it take you to get that down to $6 or $7? Because last time I ran Facebook ads, I was sitting at 22 CPCs.
Oh, that's it. I tell everybody, if you get over $9, shut it down and start over. So I'm always building new ads, always building new ads. I've got my go-tos, I've got my sweet spots, I've got my honey holes, and I know what they are. Sometimes it's a city ad, sometimes it's a county ad, sometimes it's a statewide ad, sometimes it's a statewide ad excluding men. Sometimes it's a city ad and I might use a city seal. Sometimes it's a statewide ad, I might use a statewide seal.
When you first started though, that you had a higher CPC that went down as Facebook learned your account, or do you think that's
I think the opposite.
Yeah, I've heard you.
So how about this, true story. So when I first started generating my own leads, it was around February of 21. My personal page, again, I had to build it because I didn't have Facebook. They restricted me, they disabled me. I wasn't able to run any ads of any kind. And that went on for like 3 weeks, couldn't get a hold of anybody to assist. So I started using my wife's Facebook page. And that's what I've used from February of 21, of 20 until about a month ago. Yeah, a week ago. But I think, I'm not some kind of conspiracy theory kind of guy, but Facebook is listening to everything we're saying right now. And I think Facebook just knows that I'm willing to spend, the truth is, I'm willing to spend $9 a lead. I'm content with that. I'm comfortable with that. That's my own price.
Tell them how we did the same ad.
$9, I'm going to. So, but my lead price would go up and up and up, $9, $10. He and I are building the same exact ad in the same exact place, the same exact image, identical. He's getting a lead at $5, I'm paying 11, 10. Makes no sense to me. So I'm like, you know what, let me see if I can go back into my own personal page and get it lifted, unrestricted, undisabled, and I did. And now, same exact ad. I've got 2 monitors, 2 different browsers going on my computer. My wife's Facebook page with an ad, the same exact ad on my page, $9, $4, same exact ad. So I don't know if that really answers your question, but I think it's a lot of trial and error. There's definitely a lot of states that I can't get a good lead price. I always find that if I kind of really niche that down, it helps. I'll tell you this. So let's just say, somebody, Nick, where do you live?
Charlotte.
Okay. What state is Charlotte in, guys? He didn't say North Carolina, he said Charlotte, right? If somebody lives in Philly, right, it's in Pennsylvania, but you ask them where do they live, they're not gonna say Pennsylvania, they're gonna say Philly. Somebody lives in Miami, where do you live? They're not gonna say Miami, or they're not gonna say Florida, they're gonna say Miami. People are sometimes more local roots, they're kind of tied more to the local community. So the point I'm trying to make is you might want to think about running an ad in Charlotte or in Miami. Don't run Miami. Or in, wherever it is. If you can niche that down, I've always found that helps tremendously. Tremendously. Your audience might be smaller and your demographic might be tighter, but I think you'll get a better lead price overall, if it's possible. Now, if you want to look at a state like Iowa, there's not a city large enough that you could do that. So you'd have to run a statewide ad in Iowa as an example. I think I saw a hand over here.
So you're in Florida, but you don't sell Florida. How many states do you recommend? 5, 10, 20 states?
I think I'm licensed in about 30, but I don't do business in all 30. And here's why I don't do Florida, by the way. And this would apply with just about every state. So I think about the person that I'm talking to. And by the way, I know a lot of people figure final expense. A lot of people think elderly people. My average client's 57. I don't consider that old. So for one thing, I never use the word senior. I'm 45. If I saw the word senior, I'm gonna think that's not for me. But you know what? I'm not gonna click on the ad. But if he's running that ad, he's still going to pay for it because I saw it, because that's an impression.
Right.
So you don't want to ever use the word senior, number one. As far as, what was the question again? I'm sorry.
How many states?
Yeah. So I think you can get away. Start small. I mean, I got 30. I'd probably use 6.
I got 20 states. I use 2 states.
California, I think on the video.
Because I experiment, trial and error, like we did.
Yeah.
It's just all, there's a lot of cost
Yep.
to learning in the beginning.
And that changes. I mean, sometimes I'll have an ad running and I'm generating $3 and $4 leads for months and months, and then for no apparent reason. I've done nothing, I've changed nothing overnight. Now this ad is, generating $12, $13, $14 leads. I got to shut it down. And I'm not going to wait to build another ad for Gets Us Approved. I need to have another one kind of in the lineup at all times.
I'd also say focus on states that you're familiar with. You can have conversation, right? Charlotte, right? You can speak to people about Charlotte, right? So I always say that too. So always think about if you're familiar with a certain area, it's a good way just to build that rapport.
Yeah, like I'm licensed in Texas. I know a lot of you guys from Texas. I don't do anything in Texas. I'm a fast talking guy from the Northeast. Me in Texas, nah, it doesn't go well. But I do well in Minnesota, where they're not fast talking guys in the Northeast. But for whatever reason, Texas and me, no. I know, Patrick, one more thing I wanted to address with you. So why I don't do business in Florida. My 57-year-old Mary Smith, wherever she is, whether she's in Florida, Texas, Oklahoma, wherever, Wisconsin, chances are she's getting a check from the government, whether that's Social Security, whether that's disability, maybe even unemployment. Which states pay better? So you're getting a check from the government. Let's put Mary Smith in California, let's put Mary Smith in Florida, and let's put Mary Smith in Alabama. Which Mary Smith's check is going to be larger? No doubt. I think Florida would probably come next. I don't even know, but I'm pretty sure Alabama would probably be on the bottom of that. I would guess.
I think Mississippi's the worst.
Which also, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask if there's a lot of moving parts to this.
Yes.
Have you got any sort of structure that might be made available to us as attendees here that we could mimic? Not necessarily copy you verbatim, but
yeah, I don't have like a detailed program or I don't sell anything. There's no course or anything like that for me.
Start with Bobby's course.
Yeah.
That's where you
Bobby's
need
is
to
the
start.
foundation. Bobby's course.
YouTube, go to YouTube in the search bar, put in my last name, Duford, and then $2.50.
And then from there, it's your CRM.
Yeah, yeah. Then just watch that. You'll be sold on it or not, and then you'll see a link that you can click to talk to Bobby directly.
did he help to create the app?
No, not my ad. No.
Bobby did not.
No, his
Bobby?
course will.
Pardon?
His course will, but I don't use his ads.
Right.
So there's a lot. Bobby's course is great because I think it really does give a great foundation, and it will get you up and running, and it will show you how to get your Facebook business page and do this and do that. And it's cheap. I mean, there's a lot of people selling courses out there for thousands of dollars. Bobby's course is, well, that's not I'm not going to quote that, but it's a couple $100, not thousands. But once you've got that, at least you've got the structure. At that point, you can build from there.
Yeah, Bobby did an ad for me for $150.
He built the ad.
Pretty good ad.
Good. Is it producing?
Yep.
Good. Fantastic. Yeah.
We don't have to manage your Facebook page too.
He's starting to.
He is?
Yeah.
I
He's doing a lot more now. Yeah, for sure.
I'd rather.
I'll mention this just on the management side. Somebody mentioned Upwork earlier. You can find people on Upwork that know how to do all that grunt work of managing Facebook all day long. So, it is an option. Ethan.
Yeah, with telesales being the new craze, and with me experiencing a little bit of success with it, I contribute a lot of that to being a face-to-face agent. Would you say, I know that you were in the field only 4 or 5 weeks, but would you say to people that want to get into telesales, would you recommend them just opting in and doing it, or would you recommend them getting out in the field a little while? See how that works.
Yeah, great question. So face-to-face versus telesales, man, worlds apart. When you're in somebody's home, you're sitting down at their kitchen table, dining room table, you've got their attention. Your eye contact, you're one-on-one, there's no distractions. I'm talking to people that are wiping a baby's ass, doing the dishes, cooking dinner, grocery shopping, and all at the same time. So you got to keep it moving at all times. I'm a talker, and I keep talking and talking and talking. And the fact that I'm a talker, I sell the fact that I'm a talker. Like I kind of own that, and I let them know. So I think that's a big issue that a lot of people have face-to-face moving into telesales. You want to kind of slow it down, and you're thinking you've got their undivided attention. You don't. So you got to keep it moving. You got to keep them engaged. And I would do that by a lot of different trial closes, but I also, I dangle the carrot at all times. And what I mean by dangle the carrot is, so let's just say this is within the first, 3 minutes of my pitch, my script. I say, all right, Dave, so in case you haven't noticed, I have a tendency to talk pretty fast. Please feel free to slow me down if you need me to. No problem doing so, not offended. I actually do it intentionally. And I also talk a lot, and that's also intentional. Reason being, there's a lot to know. There's not a lot of time. I don't want to bore you to death, I promise you that, but there's information that people need to know. They might not know they need to know it, but that's just because they don't know the questions to ask. But anybody that is serious about getting life insurance, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't have any coverage now, right? Just curious, how long has it been on your to-do list? Okay, so if you're serious about getting life insurance, you need to know at least these answers to these questions. Does this coverage last forever, or does it end at a certain point? Is my price locked in for life, or is there any way on God's green earth that's going to increase as I get older? Are there any other costs involved? Anything, any annual this, membership that, cockamamie this, who knows what? What if I die in an accident versus natural causes? What does that look like? Is that any different? Do I have to pay for coverage the same day that I apply? How many beneficiaries can I have? Is there a waiting period? So, not everybody asked me all these questions, Dave, but I'm sure you probably had a few of those floating around your head, right? Well, I'm going to answer all that and then some. So I just kind of planted a seed. I'm letting them know that I'm going to get to that. I don't answer any of that there. I let them know that there's more to come. So again, I want to guide them down this path, ultimately to my goal of, yes, let's apply for coverage. But in order to get to the end of that, I have to walk them down this path, and I dangle the carrot. So I'm always kind of keeping them involved. I'm keeping them intrigued. I'm always asking questions, and I'm letting them know that's going to come. I'm going to answer that. So I don't know if that really answers your question exactly, but it's telesales and face-to-face, no doubt about it, it's an adjustment. You got
to be spot on.
For sure.
All times. There's no awkward silence. You got to not only be a great salesperson, you got to be a great underwriter. Because they don't see you in front of them, oh, I can't get to this carrier, they're going to say no. They don't see that, so you got to be ready to rock and roll. If you get a denial right then and there, you think you're going to keep them on the line with another carrier to go through a telemed interview?
Right.
I mean, and especially you called them unexpectedly, that they didn't expect to be on the phone for the last 45 minutes. So that's another thing. You got to be very polished on your sales, but very polished on your underwriting too.
Do you know the unique cost before you start like a campaign, or is that something you find out after?
Budget.
I mean, you set a budget on it every day for each ad. And I will say, by the way, for anybody that is running ads, personally, we have found that the sweet spot on a daily budget on an ad is about $35. So even if I have an ad that is producing leads at $5 a piece and I'm willing to spend $100, if I increase my budget to $50, my $5 lead cost goes away. Now it's $7. So for whatever reason, don't know why, $35 a day per ad is the sweet spot, is what we found. Agreed?
I think so. 30, 35, yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of times I'm running, 8, 9, 10, 12 ads a week. Some are duds, some are studs. If it doesn't work out and I exceed that $9 lead price, I shut it off and I have another one that's kind of ready to go right behind it.
It's basically trial and error. You just got to keep going.
Yeah.
Keep going.
And then you'll have your go-tos. You're going to have your couple of ads that do produce, and you're going to run them week in and week out. But you always need to make sure you're always trying a new area. Hence the reason I've got 30 states that I'm licensed in, but I really do business in maybe 6.
Yeah.
You're texting them immediately. Are you also trying to call right away, or?
I do.
So if you ask me that, I'll answer and then he'll answer. So personally, I'm only calling the people to book appointments. So, but I got to spend a lot of money to do that. Not everybody wants to do that. So I'm spending, anywhere from $700, $800 to $1,000 a week. I own another business. I've got a wife and 2 kids. I don't want to work 90 hours a week, and I don't want to dial 300 phone calls a day. So for me, I don't mean to sound like a arrogant prick there, but I'm willing to spend the money, I guess is what it is. I know what my numbers are. I know if I spend X amount of dollars, I know I'm going to get X amount of leads. I know I'm getting an X amount of appointments. I know I'm going to write so many policies. The numbers have always worked out for me in that respect. But now let Matt answer that question.
Yes, I call them immediately if they come in, right? They're under the ether. They just filled that out. Some life event happened, the reason why they filled it out. Yeah, when it comes to numbers, right, Tony buys enough leads to get enough appointments. I probably do exactly half the amount of advertising spend and probably book half of the amount of appointments, but do, I don't know, average $100 a day in between my appointments. So I'm probably like a week at the 600 number, and I think I average about 22 policies, new policies a month. So at a $2,000 marketing expense.
Yeah.
And my average premium is a little lower than Tony's. I think I'm like 9 and change. He's over 1,000. I don't know if I jumped ahead on that.
No, I'll get to that too, but
yeah, they're under the ether. Call them immediately if you can. I hear that ding go off in my CRM. It's like go, go, go. Because 9 times out of 10, 1 they'll answer, and 2 they're like, I'm looking at your calendar right now. You know, it's go for it.
Don, do you have a question?
I don't live in your advertising area, no doubt. I live in Florida. So.
hopefully not Miami.
No.
Okay.
Palm Coast. But where can I see a sample of one of your ads?
Get on Facebook.
Yeah. How old are you? I'm just kidding.
71.
Yeah, if I put it out in Florida, you'd probably find it. But shoot me an email. I can share some information with you.
Images and everything.
I'm sorry?
Bobby does have all the images. Like he will build you out your ad, and it's pretty much copy and paste from there. It's just changing it up.
How do you get a hold of Bobby? YouTube. Put in DeFord, $2.50.
It's going to come up first.
Go to the description. Yeah, you'll see his link there. You can set a private appointment with him. Yeah, you got it. No problem.
I think you got a couple more questions, but
Who else? We got some time here.
Yeah, David, admin the question. At what point do you feel annoyed when you send those messages and stuff?
They ask for it.
At what point?
What was the question? At what point?
At what point do you sense that you're becoming an annoyance to the customer?
You let them go.
I have text messages that are set up in my CRM that are going at all times. When they reply stop, if they reply stop, they get taken out of the system. But until then, I look at it as they filled out their information. I'm not buying a lead from a lead vendor where I don't know where this came from. This could be somebody that's making up BS out of, just pulling names and numbers out of the phone book. I know the lead. I know what they saw. I know what I wrote in the ad, and I know what, so I convince in my own head, and I don't have to. It's not a lie. I'm not trying to talk myself up. I know what they did. I know they're looking for it. So if they reply stop, well, then they come out of the system. Until then, they're getting text messages and emails for weeks, months.
Years.
You don't say buy or die.
That's it. Every single person, kind of off topic from that, I go into every single phone call. I go into every single thing in life where there's a sale going on in everything that I do. I don't care if I'm going to order a drink at the bar, if I'm on the phone with somebody, if my kids are trying to get, download a new game on their iPad. There's a sale involved in every single thing. And who's being sold, who's buying, that's kind of on you. I sell the hell out of myself. I mean, I'm on the phone for all day, 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes before I even get to the quote. A lot of people are surprised by that. When I do write a policy, I don't ever ask to write the policy. I wait for them to ask me. And out of all the business I've written, I'm going to say 85% of that has not even really required a rebuttal. They said, okay, that one works. What do we got to do next? Let's move forward. Now why is that? I wish I had like one quick answer, but I'm going to say, the structure of the call for sure. The way that your conversation needs to go, keeping them engaged, asking the right questions, but probably above and beyond all that, and I can't stress this enough, but I do it every single call that I have with my team, education. If you teach somebody something, no matter what, they automatically, I'm not going to say put you on a pedestal, but you've gotten their respect. I don't care if you're, $12 an hour at a mechanic shop, working on cars. I can't fix cars. But if this guy can tell me what's wrong with my car and he can do it, he's got my respect. So now to kind of put that in perspective of the insurance side of things, most people don't know the basic difference between term and whole life insurance. For you taking the time to just show them that, and then I even ask people, and I say, okay, I got some questions for you, Dave. And a couple of trick questions thrown in here. Don't be shy, don't be nervous. Most people don't know 99% of any of this stuff. Do you happen to know the difference between term life insurance and whole life insurance? And then shut up and let them answer. They're going to give it a good attempt, or they're going to say, no, I really don't. Let them do their thing. And then I ask them questions. Let me ask you, Dave, if you saw the language that said guaranteed renewable, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? And they all answer wrong. And no, let me teach you. If you had, and I showed them Colonial Penn. I showed them the differences between all these different opportunities, options, junk they get in the mail, commercials they see on TV. And then they're like, man, that makes sense. If I would have saw guaranteed renewable, I would think that would be great. I would have signed up. This is scary. This guy knows what he's talking about. So they're not buying, I tell you this, they're not buying the Aetna name. They're not buying, who the hell's heard of Royal Neighbors unless you're probably sitting in this room or in the industry. But they're not buying that, they're buying me. They're buying my confidence, they're buying my trust, they're buying my ability, and the fact that I'm not trying to pull the wool over their eyes. I'm not trying to just okey doke them and jam them into some policy. And I say that, I mean, obviously that's my plan, but that's the truth. I'm sorry, the gentleman in the corner there, I sell them the cheapest policy, that's what I do. I mean, except Mutual of Omaha. I don't write Mutual of Omaha, just not telesales friendly, but.
To add to that, yeah, I would say at the end of the call, 80% of the people go, by the way, which carrier is this? I say about 80% of the time they have no idea who the carrier is.
Yeah.
But I think we gain their trust, right? We're there to act as their fiduciary. We make sure they understand that we're here to represent them, not a specific company. So my job is to understand your unique situation. I'm going to ask you questions. It's going to paint your picture. That's going to allow me to go to market and find your best options. And I guarantee that. And that's why we don't worry. That's why we say we go cheapest, because if they go and shop it out, yeah, maybe they'll get Mutual of Omaha, but maybe they'll get irritated enough on the application process that they'd say, the hell with it, I don't want to save $3 a month. So yeah, I would say you got to sell yourself, like Tony said. It's not, you can't go leading with a product. You're going to sound like everyone else.
Yeah. And even as far as like selling myself, so I tell people, I say, look, I'm not some 1-800 number. I'm not in a call center. I'm 45 years old. I've got a wife and 2 kids. I'm sitting in a home office. I'm in it right now. And so again, I want them to visualize who I am, what I look like. I want them to picture everything. So every single part of the phone call, I'm always painting a picture at all times. Who I am, the service I provide, and again, knowing that every single thing is a sale. And guiding them down that path is a big, big part.
Do you recommend a CRM that you're able to do all this through, send a text like you are?
Yeah, so I use one called Radius now, Radius Bob. Now, Radius Bob is right out the box. It's not going to do 5% of the way I have it set up. It's set up the way that I set it up. When to send the text messages, when to send the emails. There's logic that goes behind that. The message that is in the text message and the emails, there's logic that goes behind that. So Radius Bob is definitely more involved. Matt, however, is using something new. He's only been at it for about 2 weeks. And I think that's a lot more plug and play. What is that called?
Lead to client. Yeah. Yeah, it works good. Radius Bob's a blank sheet of paper, you build it, right? Lead to client's kind of easy, just turn on and go immediately, but it does need work, right? I'm constantly, every week, working on it, adding things. I do miss Radius because I pretty much had it all set and done, and I made the jump. I got sold by Bobby, kinda. But I'm giving it a whirl. I think it's gonna be a lot easier talking to Tony when transitioning a new agent is with the lead to client, because of Radius. I mean, it takes us hours and hours of time to get someone set up and running. Versus a lead to client's like, okay, get up and running, and then this week I'll give you a new hint. Things like that.
Yeah, a lot of agents in telesales appear, at least with the questions that I'm hearing so far, appear to focus on the front end of the sale. Can you talk a little bit more about the back end as far as the cool down, anything you send out to the client? Can you talk a little bit more about that?
After I've written the policy, you mean?
Because when I was doing telesales, it probably to be exact, it seemed like I could sell all day long. I could talk to people, I knew everything. It seemed like I would always lose on the back end, whether it be that first month, NSF or cancel, and then I can't get a hold of it. What do you do in order to prevent that? Surely I'm not the only one that's got that.
I'm knock on wood. Is this wood? It's not. I have a very small, that's not either, a very small percentage of chargebacks. I don't know what the industry average is, but my chargeback is probably somewhere in the, I don't know, 10, 12%. I get very involved. I mean, if somebody, misses a payment, I can, help them even get real creative. I mean, you can change the effective date, with certain carriers. They'll help you do that kind of things. But I definitely don't just kind of set it and forget it. Once I write the policy, I tell them, call me, text me, let me know when the policy shows up in the mail. If you need some help setting up for your online account, let me know. That's what I'm there for. But definitely let me know when you get the policy in the mail. And then they have constant text messages and emails that are being sent out, referral text. I think it's, 30 days? I think it's 21 days. 21 days after I disposition the lead that I've written the policy, they get a text message. Hey, this is Anthony, I'm just checking in. Want to make sure you got your policy in the mail. You got any questions? Blah, 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 blah. So it's not really me sending the text message. It was kind of set up ahead of time. They don't know that. But that's the extent of it, man. That's the extent of it. Yeah, not a whole lot more after that.
But yeah, it comes down to the CRM, right? The CRM duplicates yourself, so that helps a lot. Like I do a reminder, I remind myself 7 days after the policy was issued to follow up with them. Even if they don't answer, just let them know you're there. Did you get the policy? Any questions? So I always like to talk it over with them because I always kind of sell that you're going to see this cash value column. It's going to be confusing. I would like to walk you through that, things like that. So, yeah.
So two more questions, and just a reminder, we're going to have these guys back at 4, so you can ask more questions. Go ahead.
I was just going to follow up with that question. It sounds like you're selling to people who actually want insurance rather than selling it. So maybe that's why your cancellation rate is a little less, because you're really just sniffing it out. But the other thing is when you do the ad, do you have to have a website, or is that all integrated into the ad?
Integrated. I don't even have a website. Right, integrated right into the ad.
Everything's all there.
Yep. Yep. And to answer your question, one more thing about, out of those 120 leads or so, I talked to the appointments. Clearly, those are the people that have the more serious intent. Out of those, 25 appointments, 80% will even complete this risk assessment form, every single question that's on an application. Those people definitely are the most serious intent. However, 50% of them still don't answer the damn phone. They've taken 20 minutes out of their day to answer all these questions. They've looked at my calendar. The language I use on my calendar, I'm a you-know-what. It says, are you certain, in big, bold letters, to be available for this appointment?